Sarah was losing $714 every month, not to one reckless purchase, not to gambling, not to a secret shopping habit. The money disappeared through interest, fees, forgotten charges, convenience spending, overpriced services, and a retirement match she was too financially squeezed to claim. $714 every month, $8,568 a year. In the next few minutes, you will see exactly where that number came from, why working harder did not stop it, and the order of operations that finally gave her room to breathe. She discovered a pattern at 1:43 in the morning on a Wednesday in January, sitting on the bathroom floor of her apartment in Richmond, Virginia. Her daughter had a fever of 103. The urgent care copay was $250. Sarah had $312 in savings, and using almost all of it felt like stepping off a roof. Sarah's name is fictional. Her math is not. She is a composite of the financial pressures that show up again and again in American households. Sarah is 38 years old. She works as an administrative assistant at an insurance company and earns $41,000 a year. She drives a 12-year-old Nissan Sentra with a cracked windshield. She owes $11,800 on credit cards, at an average interest rate near 22%. She is not lazy. She is not careless. She went to school, earned the degree, arrives early, and stays late. She packs lunch most days. She has not taken a vacation in 3 years. And still, every month ends in the same place. The Federal Reserve's latest household survey found that 37% of American adults would not cover a $400 emergency completely with cash or its equivalent. 12% said they could not pay it by any method at all. Sarah lives inside that gap, employed, responsible, and one ordinary problem away from new debt. 3 invisible taxes are keeping her there. But the first one is not a government tax. It is the price of having no margin. Sarah brings home about $2,600 a month. Rent takes $1,100. Her car payment takes $287. Insurance takes $142. Minimum credit card payments take $236. Her phone takes $89. Utilities take $160. Her student loan takes $120. That leaves $466 for groceries, gas, medicine, school expenses, repairs, and everything life did not schedule in advance. This is the margin tax. When the gap between income and obligations becomes this thin, an ordinary event acquires an emergency price. A flat tire is no longer a repair, it is a credit card balance. A late paycheck is no longer an inconvenience, it is an overdraft. A sick child does not only create fear, it creates interest. Sarah paid an average of $38 a month in overdraft charges, late fees, and low balance fees. She paid $87 for 6 subscriptions she had stopped noticing. She was paying about $72 more than necessary for her phone and car insurance because she had never had the time or energy to compare plans. That is $197 leaving before it improves her life at all. The second invisible tax is the debt and delay tax. At an average rate near 22%, Sarah's credit card balance generated about $216 of interest every month. Her car loan added another $76 of monthly interest. Those two numbers alone consumed $292 before reducing a single dollar of principal. Then inflation worked on whatever cash remained. In the 12 months ending June 2026, the consumer price index was 3.5% higher. A dollar in Sarah's account did not disappear, but its purchasing power weakened. That does not mean emergency savings are a mistake. Money needed for a medical bill, rent, or a car repair should not be exposed to stock market risk. Warren Buffett made this distinction in Berkshire Hathaway's 2011 annual letter. He warned that currency-based assets can look stable while losing purchasing power, but he also separated near-term liquidity from money that can be invested for decades. Sarah's problem was not that she owned cash. Her problem was that high-interest debt prevented her from holding enough cash for emergencies, while the lack of a buffer forced every new emergency back onto the card. The system had become a loop. The third invisible tax is the exhaustion tax. Sarah's alarm rings at 5:45. Then comes the commute, 8 hours of work, the commute home, dinner, laundry, and getting her daughter to bed. By 9:30, she still has financial decisions to make, but almost no attention left to make them. A 2013 study published in Science found that financial scarcity can consume cognitive resources. In the researchers' calibration, the measured effect was comparable to roughly 13 IQ points. The finding was not that lower-income people are less intelligent. It was that financial pressure occupies mental bandwidth that would otherwise be available for planning and self-control. That distinction matters. Sarah did not keep the subscriptions because she loved them. She kept them because finding 6 passwords after a 10-hour day felt harder than losing another month of fees. She did not ignore insurance quotes because she was irresponsible. She ignored them because every decision arrived after her attention had already been spent. Convenience meals and delivery added about $150 a month above the cost of a simpler grocery plan. And because Sarah was not contributing enough to her workplace retirement plan, she was leaving about $75 of employer match unclaimed each month. Now the full number becomes visible: $216 in credit card interest, $76 in car loan interest, $38 in account and late fees, $87 in forgotten subscriptions, $150 in exhaustion-driven convenience spending, $72 in phone and insurance overpayment, and $75 in missed employer match. Total monthly penalty, $714. $639 was leaving through cash costs. $75 was compensation Sarah was failing to capture. Together, the annual burden was $8,568. Here is the opportunity cost, stated carefully. If $714 were invested at the end of every month for 27 years and earned an average annual return of 7%, it would grow to approximately $683,000 before fees and taxes. That is an illustration, not a promise. Markets do not guarantee 7%, and Sarah could not redirect the entire $714 on day one. The point is not that she had secretly lost a guaranteed fortune. The point is that a recurring leak steals twice, once from the present, and again from the future that money never gets to build. That was the number Sarah stared at on the bathroom floor. But this is where the story turns. She did not begin by buying a stock. She did not download a complicated budgeting system. And she did not try to repair her entire financial life in one weekend. She followed an order. First, stop the charges that provided no value. Sarah canceled the 6 subscriptions. She moved to a checking account with no monthly maintenance fee and set alerts before bills were due. She compared her phone and insurance plans. Those changes released $197 a month. She automated that money into a separate savings account until the balance reached $985 after 5 months. That was not wealth, it was a shield. When her tire needed repair, the bill came out of the shield instead of returning to the credit card. For the first time, one bad week did not create 6 months of interest. Second, attack the highest interest debt. Investor.gov, the education side of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, makes the logic plain. Eliminating high-interest credit card debt can offer a more certain benefit than hoping an investment will outperform the card's rate. After building the starter buffer, Sarah redirected the $197 toward her highest rate card. She also reduced convenience spending by about $150 a month, not by pretending she was never tired, but by preparing 2 simple meals on Sunday and keeping an emergency meal in the freezer. That created $347 of new monthly room. She continued making every minimum payment and prepared to divide that room between the most expensive balance and compensation she had been leaving unclaimed. No new charges, no dramatic trick. Third, capture available compensation and then build the long-term machine. Once the starter buffer was in place, Sarah reviewed her workplace plan. Her employer offered a match, so she began contributing $75 a month to capture another $75 from the company. The remaining $272 of recovered cash went to her highest rate card. Each month, people without a workplace match, or people carrying different debt, may need a different sequence. This is an educational example, not individualized financial advice. Only after the buffer and high-interest debt plan were operating did she begin thinking about additional long-term investing. Buffett's useful principle here is not a magic fund or a guaranteed return. It is the separation of money by job, liquid money for near-term danger, debt payments for expensive obligations, and diversified long-term assets for money that will not be needed for years. Sarah is 39 now. Her starter buffer is still intact. Her credit card balance is about $2,300 lower than it was a year ago. Her own workplace contributions plus the employer match added roughly $1,050 to retirement during the 7 months after her buffer was built. Those are not millionaire numbers. They are control numbers. Last month, her daughter needed a $60 pair of shoes. Sarah bought them without panic, without adding to the credit card, and without lying awake at 3 in the morning. That is what blocking an invisible tax buys first. Not a mansion, not freedom from every problem. Margin. If you are working harder than ever and still running in place, do not begin tonight by guessing which stock will win. Open the last 3 months of statements. Mark every interest charge, fee, forgotten subscription, and service you have not compared in a year. Separate true necessities from costs created by delay. Choose one leak to stop. Send the recovered amount automatically to a starter emergency buffer. Review the rate on every debt. If your employer offers a retirement match, learn the rules before leaving compensation unclaimed. Then decide how long-term investing fits your own income, debt, risk, and time horizon. Sarah did not escape because she suddenly worked harder. She escaped the loop because she finally saw where her work was going. And there is a fourth invisible tax hiding inside many paychecks, one that turns every hour you sell into less money than the value you create. That tax is the next thing you need to see.